ekam aksharam hrudi nirantaram vasate swayam likyate khatam. Hridaya kubara madhye kevalam brahmamatram yaham aham iti sakshat atmarupena Rubivisha manasa chinvata majjata avanachalanarupha atmanishta deham pranmayavat jadatmakam aham buddharvatasyastyato naham tattata bhavashukti samaye siddhatma sadbhav Om Bhavayuta Krutoradhiya Drishta Manishtatmana Soham Sputitaya Arunachala Shivaha Purno Vibhati Soham Sputitaya Arunachala Shivaha Purno Vibhati Namo Ramana. In this, the Thursday Satsang from Ramanacentre Center for Learning, it has been our practice to select two verses randomly from the work Guru Vachaka Kovai by Muruganar Swamigal. The random selection is done by Revatima. Each verse is read and the verse reading is followed by a short meditation on its meaning, and that is followed by the practice of self-enquiry for 15 minutes. After these two segments of verse reading, meditation on meaning, and the practice of Atma Vicharam are completed, there will be summing up remarks. Today it will be by Ujjwalji, and that shall be followed by the offering of Sri Ramanastotram. The chanting will be online by Vaibhavji and Pratnama. The floral offering will be by Manjunathji from right here. And the rest of us can inquire who is observing the offering, or who is hearing the chanting, or who is hearing the puja, experiencing the puja, so that the attention is put on the relative ego and taken to its source. With Bhagavan's immense grace, we begin the satsang by taking up the first verse selected for us, 521. Verse number 521, we find in the segment meditation on the truth. That is the mid segment. The first segment is investigation into truth. Meditation on truth is the second one. And anubhava or experience of the truth is the third. We find 521 in the sub-segment worshipping through silence, mauna upasana. Worshipping through silence, mauna upasana, mental worship. 521. Clinging to that pure state, turiya or shuddha. Clinging to that pure state, turiya or shuddha, which remains without any attachments, is clinging to divine grace. Clinging to that pure state, turiya or shuddha, which remains without any attachments, is clinging to divine grace. This alone is one's own state of mauna, wherein naught else exists, NAUGST, where nothing else exists. To know and to merge in this state of silence through vichara, and to remain always as that, is true mental worship. This you should know. There is a note, Shuddha Nilai, the pure state, sometimes indicates the state between sleep and waking, before the eye has risen, and sometimes it refers to Turiya, the substratum of the states of waking, dreaming, and sleep. In verse 265, it was described, Shuddha Nilai was described as the pure state Shuddha Nilai exists and shines as unceasing pure being in the heart, Ullam, after the other thoughts that arise from oneself, Vikshepa, and self-forgetfulness, Avarana, that is the basis for their rising. The Avarana is the basis for the rising of Vikshepa, are fully destroyed. Both Avarana and Vikshepa, self-forgetfulness and following of other thoughts, are completely destroyed. That is Shuddha Nilai according to 265. Mental worship, of course, we usually think of mental worship as we have the physical worship. That's what we were saying. The floral offering is there, the listening is there. We made it mental by asking who is experiencing the puja, who is observing or who is listening. From the sensory, we have made it mental. There was a devotee from Andhra Pradesh who had settled down in Ramanashram after his retirement. Before 4 o'clock, it appears, before the people came to the meditation hall, every day he would clean the meditation hall. Every day he would go for Girivalam. Then a point came where his body became debilitated. It could not do the 14 kilometers offering, the worship through the senses. He could not offer anymore. He used to do mental Girivalam. In the mind, with a steadiness, he would meditate on the whole route, how he would walk from one point of worship to another point of worship and eventually complete. Kameshwarji would say that the chanting of or the remembering completely of Aksharamanamali is mental Girivalam. He says that because almost the entire work Aksharamanamali was completed by Ramana Maharshi during one Girivalam. So that is usually the reference to mental worship. That is, meditate on the thought form. But here the mental worship is given the true meaning. What is truly mental worship? clinging to that pure state, Turiya or Shuddha. Turiya or Shuddha, he says, has two meanings. Either it could be between the two states of waking and deep sleep. Better still, it is that state which is the Adhara for waking, dream and deep sleep. How do we cling to that? Very simple. Hold the eye. Directly hold the eye. The attention, only if it goes after the other, the seer seeing seen, knower knowing known is there. The triads are there. When that attention which was going after the other is turned on oneself, the triad literally collapses. And with the bhava bala, it is it is bhava bala, but one is holding on to the shuddha nilai. There is no other thought, no trouble, no solution. No trouble in the present, no solution sought in the future. That is the Shuddha Nilai, the Turiya Avastha. And in this verse, it is called as holding on to grace. We all seek grace to come to our aid. The grace that is that meditation in which the whole creation is functioning. Grace, in one sense, is the Anandamaya Kosha of Ishvara. It is the bliss kosha of Ishvara. You can think about it, you can meditate on it, that the whole objective creation is actually present in that ocean of grace. That ocean of grace, which is the Anandamaya kosha of Ishvara. And how to hold that? How to hold the Anandamaya kosha of Ishvara? Not to follow any of the senses, sensory objects or the thoughts, but to diligently ask, for whom is this? Who am I? Then, without waiting for thoughts to arise, also hold the I directly. Now you should hold it with the understanding that you are holding the Shuddha Nilai, you are holding grace. Nothing more can be done. What more can be evoked than the grace in which the whole creation is existing, the meditation in which the whole creation is existing? What more can be invoked at the time of trouble? Therefore, here it is said as this alone is one's own state of mauna, wherein naught else exists. To know and to merge in the state of silence through vichara, and to remain always as that Shuddha Nilai, is true mental worship. So, true mental worship is this mauna, is this silence, where even the effort of holding the eye is no more required, because the Spurana, the Ishvara Shakti, has erased all of the vasanas that were leading to I am the body idea. Therefore, that Shuddha Nilai, the Turiya Nilai, is held effortlessly. This is true mental worship. This you should know is the verse. Let us practice that mental worship with effort. Whenever thought arises, inquire for whom. It is for me. Inquire who am I. And even directly hold the I, the truth of the I, or from where the I arises. When we hold, that is holding of grace in any situation. So let's hold the grace through Atma Vicharam for the next 15 minutes. Ujjalji will trouble you for the timing. Thank you.
Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramanaya.
Namo Ramana. We continue by taking up the second verse selected for us, verse number 817. This too is in the segment meditation on the truth. We find it in the sub-segment, the sense of equality. The sense of equality, 817. Only if some rights are granted to others do they exist for you as well. But if those who deny a few rights to others enjoy those privileges themselves, then only moral corruption will result. Only if some rights are granted to others do they exist for you as well. But if those who deny a few rights to others enjoy those privileges themselves, then only moral corruption will result. There is a note here, but I am not going to read it. Let's meditate on the meaning. In the work, Who am I? Bhagavan says, பிறருக்கு கொடுப்பதெல்லாம் உனக்கே கொடுத்துக் கொள்கிறாய். Whatever you give to others, you are giving to yourself only. You are giving to yourself. If once this is known, who will hesitate to give things to others, to give the good stuff to others, is the statement of Bhagavan. What does this actually mean? And especially here, the granting of the rights, what rights we have. Suppose we take some special rights to ourselves, we'll have to make efforts to cling on to it because it is peculiarly ours. Only when we realize that what rights others have, that alone we are also having, then we can have that effortlessly. If we hold some special rights over others, then we will see that those are lost. For instance, the rule of Bhagavan, our prarabdha prakaram, adarkanavan anga angirundu aati. That is, it is the Ishvara who grants the situation which we find ourselves in. If one understands that, then that is given uniformly to everyone. Somebody who is within inverted commas in a better position than us is not envied. Somebody who is in a worse position than us is not pitied, because Ishvara is within them. Ishvara is present within them, and he is only granting the phala, the karma phala, and according to that, the situation they find themselves in is there. Suppose we take some special privileges, like in the ashram, when the serving of food is done, some of the people who have been given that responsibility will act as though they have suddenly become powerful, or out of extra care for Bhagavan, they will put a little bit more of what they are having. And Bhagavan would take them to task. All are equal here. Whatever is available for the rest, let that alone be available for me. What is it that we take as our right in who am I? We don't claim that we should be able to hold on to any particular thought. That particular thought may be a better house, maybe better circumstances, maybe a great position of power, but none of them are held. What do we hold? We hold to that I which is present in everyone, and also go to the source of that I which is obviously present in everyone. So self-enquiry is a sadhana where equality of all is observed. But then what kind of equality is that? That is the eternal existence which cannot be taken away from anyone. It is the unbroken ananda which cannot be taken away from anyone. We first give that in everyone the Satchitananda is present. Then only we are able to effortlessly hold it within us. This is the equality. பிறருக்கு கொடுப்பதெல்லாம் உனக்கே கொடுத்துக் கொள்கிறார். Let us come down to the simple act of giving away food, giving away good dress, giving away donations, let us say like that. What happens within us? Within us, we are giving, there are these two entities, both within us. The giver and the receiver are within us as thoughts. And we are giving to ourselves only, because in the mind, what we are giving, the other person, we, all the three are three thoughts. And we should understand that thoughts are much more powerful than the sensory objects. After all, what are we going to give? We are going to give some sensory objects. But thoughts are more powerful. When we give in thoughts to others, that then we understand that whatever is the sensory wealth or sensory thing that we have transferred is present in its wholeness within us. First, it is thought energy, then only we are able to access it in the sensory world. The thought gets projected. So, when we understand the process of giving, in the sensory world, you are giving, transferring some object, but in the more powerful, more subtler, the higher dimension of thought, you understand that all the kalyana, all the goodness, all the good stuff are present within you, within the self as the thought. In fact, all the rest of the people are present within the I. When we do self-enquiry, what happens? When we get the thought of another person, we ask for whom is this thought. We go to that I, which is the common I for my individuality and the other person's individuality. When we take the individuality of all the 8 billion people on this earth, for whom is this thought that there are 8 billion people? It is for me. Who am I? So inside me is that Ishvara who is uniting all the individualities into one I. Therefore, whom else can I give? When I am giving, whom else can I give except to myself? And if I try to divide the I and say that I want to have some facility better than the other, then how can I ever find that unified I of Ishvara, which is the real wealth, which is real knowledge, which is real happiness? Only in that unity, only in that unified I is there unbroken bliss, is their true knowledge, is their true wealth. All the other wealth that we are enjoying are all temporary, false, and are not present in deep sleep. So, if we try to claim some special rights for ourselves over others, we will never be able to proclaim or attain to this real Kalyana, which is the unified I, where in that unbroken consciousness, all the wealth, all the knowledge, all the happiness is glued into one, is glued into one I, and that is what we are. Why should we lose this by separating ourselves and feel that that person should be lower than me and I should have something extra over and above him? It is foolish, is it not? So let us enjoy that wealth, let us enjoy that knowledge, let's enjoy that happiness in that unified I right now, right here, by inquiring, who am I? When other people's thoughts, even divine entities' thoughts come, the divine entity and I, we are having a common I. That is where who am I is taking. I am unified with that divine entity in an I. With effort, I am going to that I, which is common for that divine entity and myself. Let's go there where all of us are unified. So there are no separate rights, there are no separate privileges, there is no special kirita that we want to acquire. The very unity itself is the highest blessing. So that is where we are going in Atma Ucharam. For the next 15 minutes, let's sit in Atma Ucharam, where the equality is perfect.
Bhagavate Shri Ramanaya.
Namo Ramana. May I request Ujjwal ji to give us the summing of remarks. Namo Ramana, sir.
Namo Ramana. The two verses that we were meditating was on the mental worship. Ramana in Upadesha Saram says, Kaya Vangmana Karyamuttamam Pujanam Japaschintanam Kramat. Meaning that the puja that we do with Kaya, that is through our body, Vacha, through our speech, and Dhyana, which is done through the Manas, is greater in that order. Pujanam Japa Dhyanam Uttamam. The worship that we do with our Kaya is good, but better than that is the Vacha, that is the Japa that we do, and better than the Japa is the Sadhana that we do with our mind, the mental worship, which we were meditating on the first verse. But Ramana says all the worships that we do has to turn towards the mental worship. Nandakumar ji aptly told that whenever we are offering Ashtottara Puja to Bhagwan, we should offer every thought that rises back to the self, which is the true abode of Bhagwan. And when you are offering that, that becomes a mental worship. The Kaya Puja becomes mental worship. Talking about Japa, Bhagwan himself says, make your mind the mouth and keep chanting the Nama that you have taken up to chant in the Japa, with making the mind as the mouth. So making Japa also a mental worship. And here it says the true mental worship is when there is no thought and you are clinging on to that Shuddha Nilai, the pure state. That is true mental worship, says Bhagwan in this verse. So that is the work that we need to do. By doing every sadhana, we are only turning back and getting back to that Shuddha Nilai, the state, the pure state that we truly are. And Bhagwan says that is holding on to the grace. Ramana says grace alone exists. Grace is in the beginning, grace is in the middle, and grace is in the end. And he also adds, you don't come in between. How do we come in between? As every thought that rises, we are coming in between that ever existent grace. And Ramana says, turn back your attention towards the heart, not towards the world, but towards the heart. By doing that, you are holding on to that grace which is ever present. In the next verse, it spoke about the equality in the Ramana's presence and how Ramana made where the instructions that was given in the ashram, he followed, and he did not impose those rules and regulations to others. I remember of this beautiful instance which I have read from the spiritual stories as told by Bhagwan Sri Ramana Maharshi. Once a foreigner was sitting in the hall and she could not squat her legs, like how we sit in Padmasanam. She could not do that. So she had stretched her legs and she was sitting, and those legs pointing towards Bhagwan. And the devotees around, they felt very, very strange. How can one point their legs towards Bhagwan? So they went and they told that foreigner, this is not the right thing to do. You should fold your legs. And with great difficulty, she had to fold her legs. Ramana stopped the devotees and told, oh, is that a rule here that we should sit in this Padmasana position? Then even I should also sit in Padmasana position, because Ramana had this arthritis in his knees and he could not bend his knees flexibly. So he had stretched his leg in the couch in the usual posture that we see of Bhagavan Ramana. And seeing that instruction was given to a foreigner to fold her legs, Ramana with great difficulty had to cross his legs, and with great difficulty he was sitting with his knees paining, and the devotees had to beg Bhagavan Ramana, please, we are very, very sorry. We will not instruct, we will not impose these rules on others too. And the foreigner and also Bhagavan relaxed, and Bhagavan stretched his leg after much plea, and he told a story of Avvayar. Avvayar Pati, once she was at Kailasa, and she was taken to Kailasa quickly by Lord Ganapati, and she was sitting in front of Shiva with both her legs stretched towards Shiva and Parvati. And Parvati felt very, very, just like the devotees, she felt very, very awkward, and she instructed some of her Sakhis, "Oh Sakhis, please go and tell Avvayar to put her leg where other side, where there is no Shiva, not towards Shiva." And Shiva told Parvati, "Don't do anything, please be quiet." But Parvati did not listen. She had to tell her Sakhis, and the Sakhis went and instructed Avvayar Pati, you are keeping your legs towards Shiva. Keep your leg the other side where there is no Shiva. And Avvayar told, "Oh, is that so? Am I pointing Lord Shiva?" So she turned to the other direction. And as soon as she turned her legs other direction, Shiva, Parvati, they moved to that place where she was pointing her legs. And again the Sakhis told, "Oh, Avvayar, you are pointing again towards Shiva. You put your leg the other side." When she put her leg other side, Shiva and Parvati again appeared in that place where she was pointing her legs. And knowing this, Shiva told, "Didn't I tell you, Parvati, to be quiet? Because of you, we had to move here and there and there and here. If you had not told, we would have been there as we are happily." So this is what Ramana told, that Ramana is there everywhere, Bhagavan is there everywhere, and everybody has the same privileges, everybody is equal. So when you are imposing some rules saying that one is superior and one is not so superior, subordinate, then you are only creating inequality. But Ramana says everybody is equal. So piraru kivadu tamakam, when you are giving to others, you are only giving to yourself. Understand this. And this reminded me that when we are sharing, that one needs to get back to the self. When we are giving this, sharing this Upadesha, this message of Bhagavan to others, we are actually giving that same Upadesha to ourselves. And the only thing that we need to do is to get back to our own true nature. That is the only thing that needs to be done. Only when we understand our own true nature, we will understand that everybody is equal and there is no differences. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramanaya.
Namo Ramana, sir. Thank you. May I request Vaibhavji and Pratnama to render the chanting of Ashtotram.
Namo Ramana. Bharadwaja Vishwanatha Virachitam Sri Ramanashtottara Shatanamavalihi Apara Satchit Sukhavari Rashe Yasyoni Matram Bhuvanam Samastam Guhahitam Tam Ramanam Gabhiram Chinta Vihinam Rudhi Chintayami Om Mahasena Mahom Shena Jataya Namaha Om Sri Ramanaya Namaha Om Gurave Namaha Om Akhanda Samvidakaraya Namaha Om Mahaujase Namaha Om Karanodbhavaya Namaha Om Jagadhitavatāraya Namaha Om Sri Bhuminathasthalostitaya Namaha Om Parasharakulottamsaya Namaha Om Sundararya Namaha Om Kamaniya Sucharitraya Namaha Om Sahayamba Sahayavate Namaha ॐ शोणाचलमहोलीनमानसाय नमः। ॐ स्वर्णहस्तकाय नमः। ॐ श्रीमद्द्वादशान्तमहास्थले लब्धविद्योदयाय नमः। ॐ महाशक्तिनिपातेन प्रबुद्धाय नमः। ॐ परमार्थविदे नमः। ॐ तीव्राय नमः। ॐ पितृपदान्वेषिणे नमः। ॐ इन्दुमौळिना पितृमते नमः। ॐ पितुरादेशतः शोणशैलं प्राप्ताय नमः। ॐ तपोमयाय नमः। ॐ उदासीनाय नमः। ॐ महायोगिने नमः। ॐ महोत्साहाय नमः। ॐ कुशाग्रदिये नमः। ॐ शान्तसङ्कल्पसंरम्भाय नमः। ॐ सुसन्दृशे नमः। ॐ सवित्रे नमः। ॐ स्थिराय नमः। ॐ तपक्षपितसर्वाङ्गाय नमः। ॐ फुल्लाम्बुजविलोचनाय नमः। ॐ चन्द्रिकासितहासश्रीमण्डिताननमण्डलाय नमः। ॐ चूतवाट्यां समासीनाय नमः। ॐ चूर्णिताखिलविभ्रमाय नमः। ॐ वेदवेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञाय नमः। ॐ चिन्मुद्रिणे नमः। ॐ त्रिगुणातिगाय नमः। ॐ विरूपाक्षगुहावासाय नमः। ॐ विराजदचलाकृतये नमः। ॐ उद्दीप्तनयनाय नमः। ॐ पूर्णाय नमः। ॐ रचिताचलताण्डवाय नमः। ॐ गम्भीराय नमः। ॐ परमाचार्याय नमः। ॐ सुप्रसन्नाय नमः। ॐ अभयप्रदाय नमः। ॐ दक्षिणास्यनिभाय नमः। ॐ धीराय नमः। ॐ दक्षिणाभिमुखाय नमः। ॐ स्वराजे नमः। ॐ महर्षये नमः। ॐ भगवते नमः। ॐ ईड्याय नमः। ॐ भूमविद्याविशारदाय नमः। ॐ विमलाय नमः। ॐ दीर्घदर्शिने नमः। ॐ आप्ताय नमः। ॐ ऋजुमार्गप्रदर्शकाय नमः। ॐ समदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्यदृशे नमः। ॐ सत्याय नमः। ॐ प्रशान्ताय नमः। ॐ अमितविक्रमाय नमः। ॐ सुकुमाराय नमः। ॐ सदानन्दाय नमः। ॐ मृदुभाषिणे नमः। ॐ दयार्णवाय नमः। ॐ श्रीशोणाचलनिर्बोधस्कन्दाश्रमनिकेतनाय नमः। ॐ सद्दर्शनोपदेष्ट्रे नमः। ॐ सद्भक्तवृन्दपरिवृताय नमः। ॐ गणेशमुनिभृङ्गेन सेविताङ्घ्रिसरोरुहाय नमः। ॐ गीतोपदेशसारादिग्रन्थसञ्चिन्न संशयाय नमः। ॐ वर्णाश्रममतातीताय नमः। ॐ रसज्ञाय नमः। ॐ सौम्याय नमः। ॐ आत्मवते नमः। ॐ सर्वावनिमतस्थानाम् आराध्याय नमः। ॐ सर्वसद्गुणिने नमः। ॐ आत्मारामाय नमः। ॐ महाभागाय नमः। ॐ मातृमुक्तिविधायकाय नमः। ॐ विनताय नमः। ॐ विनुताय नमः। ॐ विप्राय नमः। ॐ मुनीन्द्राय नमः। ॐ पावकोज्ज्वलाय नमः। ॐ दर्शनादगसंहारिणे नमः। ॐ मौनेन स्वात्मबोधकाय नमः। ॐ ऋक्शान्तिकरसान्निध्याय नमः। ॐ स्मरणात् बन्धमोचकाय नमः। ॐ अन्तस्तिमिरचण्डांशवे नमः। ॐ संसारार्णवतारकाय नमः। ॐ शोणादृशस्तुतिद्रष्टे नमः। ॐ हार्दविद्याप्रकाशकाय नमः। ॐ अविच्युतनिजप्रज्ञाय नमः। ॐ नैसर्गिकमहातपसे नमः। ॐ कमण्डलुधराय नमः। ॐ शुभ्रकौपीनवसनाय नमः। ॐ गुहाय नमः। ॐ दण्डपाणये नमः। ॐ कृपापूर्णाय नमः। ॐ भवरोगवृषद्वराय नमः। ॐ स्कन्दाय नमः। ॐ देवतमाय नमः। ॐ अमर्त्याय नमः। ॐ सेनान्ये नमः। ॐ पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः। ॐ श्रीरमण भगवते नमः। श्रीरमणाष्टोत्तरशतनाम पूजां समर्पयामि। यस्थानोररुणाचलस्य पदयोः स्मृत्याजनिं प्राप्यत देव्यानुग्रह सुप्रवाह विवशः सारात्म्यभावङ्गतः यन्निष्ठस्वगभीर नित्यतपसा लोकान् पुनासेकराट् तस्मै श्रीरमणाय ते नमः लोकोत्तर ज्योतिषे। ॐ नमो भगवते श्रीरमणाय।
नमो 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 रमण सदाशिव प्रभावरण नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि दर्शन सुख मंगल मुख सकल जीवहित सम्मुख ब्रह्म संगिये नमो 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 रमण सदाशिव प्रभावरण नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि सदा तुष्ट सदा हृष्ट सदा शिवानंद पुष्ट परम महर्षि ब्रह्मनिष्ठ समदर्शी नमो 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 रमण सदाशिव प्रभावरण नमो महर्षि नमो महर्षि ನಮ್ಮ ಮನವದೊಂದು ಕಾಡು ನೀನರಿತಿಹೆ ಅದರ ಜಾಡು ಹಿತವನರಿತು ನೀಡುತ್ತೆಮ್ಮ ಕೊರೆಯ ತಣಿಸಲೈ ಬೇಡರೆಂದು ಬಂದ ನಾವು ನೋಡಿಯೇ ತಣಿವೆವಯ್ಯ ಮೋಡಿಗಾರನೇ ಹಿತವ ನುಡಿದು ಪೊರೆ ನಮ್ಮನು ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಸಂಗಿಯೇ ನಮೋ 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 ರಮಣ ಸದಾಶಿವ ಪ್ರಭಾವರಣ ನಮೋ ಮಹರ್ಷಿ ನಮೋ ಮಹರ್ಷಿ ನಮೋ 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 ರಮಣ ಸದಾಶಿವ ಪ್ರಭಾವರಣ ನಮೋ ಮಹರ್ಷಿ ನಮೋ ಮಹರ್ಷಿ.
ನಮೋ ರಮಣ ಅಕ್ಕ, ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮೋ ರಮಣ.
ನಮೋ ರಮಣ.